The Baltimore Ravens travel to the Buffalo Bills to take on the Bills in a rematch from their game in September earlier this season in
September 29th
Baltimore,
at Baltimore.
35-10.
Mhm.
So thoughts on this one, Casino? This one to me feels like the one that is definitely the hardest to pick, despite the last game being such a blowout.
Yeah, this is going to come down a lot, in my opinion, to we've talked about it all season, is the secondary, because Josh Daniels can throw the football really well, and he could throw the
Josh Allen.
football. Thank
You
you.
said Josh Daniels.
I don't know who is that.
He sounds like a cool guy, Josh
Yeah,
Daniels. But go
Josh
on.
Allen. Yeah, Jeez, Josh Allen, because he can sling that football insanely. He's got the arm of a freaking cannon. So it's going to come down to Josh Allen being able to throw, and like the Ravens safety Washington, I forget his first name. He's really
Kyle
going.
Hamilton.
What? No, the Washington's his last name. I don't remember his first name.
Oh, go on.
But anyway, we're going to have to see how that defense, even though it's improved, how they can handle over the top. But, them beating the Bills early on in Baltimore. Yes, this is now in Buffalo. I'm picking the Ravens. We talked about that on the TikTok. I'm picking the Ravens, and I just think that this team is built to beat the Bills. I think this team is built to beat the Bills. I think this team is built to beat the Chiefs. This is why I picked. Did I pick? Yeah, I picked Baltimore. I picked the Ravens Lions Super Bowl. I think it was the beginning of the year. That was my pick, and the Ravens have finally figured it out. Come late in the season, that makes them scary. Lamar Jackson had a really good Lamar Jackson game last week, and it was all due, in my opinion, because Derrick Henry was able to go off and he didn't have to worry about running the ball himself. So with all of that being said, I'm going to pick Baltimore. I think that they're going to be too good for Josh Allen to run against, and that's a huge factor in this game. So I will say this, though. If the Bills are able to upset Baltimore, because Baltimore is favored by -1, if the Bills are able to beat Baltimore, that gives me all the faith in the world that the Bills can take down the Chiefs the next game. I will say if the Chiefs beat the Texans, which go Texans, if the Chiefs can beat the Texans and they go to that conference finals, I can see either one of these teams, because if the Bills beat the Ravens and go, that gives me all more of just, I know that they can beat the Chiefs again in the postseason. And if Baltimore wins, that's what I thought from the get-go. So
Yeah, I think the way I'm looking at these playoffs is if the Texans beat the Chiefs, I'd be shocked. If Commanders beat the Lions, I'd be shocked. If Rams beat the Eagles, I'd be shocked. And in this game, nothing would surprise me for any outcome. If you say the Ravens blow out the Bills again, I wouldn't be shocked because we already saw that early in the season. If you told me that the Bills blow out the Ravens because they're at home and then it's a switch, it wouldn't surprise me. If you told me this game was close, if you told me it was a last second field goal for either team, I feel like you can make the case for any outcome. Now, that being said, much like the Eagles Rams game, this game, there is a 23% chance it's going to be snowing during this game. But
yeah,
even if it's
because
not snowing,
it's supposed to snow all week up from now all the way till through Saturday. And then Sunday, it says cloudy, bundle up for the football game, is what it says. And then on Monday, it's supposed to be snowy again. So there is a chance that it is going to snow on Sunday. But even if it's not, the temperature says it's before wind chill, like just the actual temperature is supposed to be 24 degrees outside. This is going to be a nasty cold game.
yeah, and by halftime, it looks like it's going to be 15 degrees. So this is going to be, but again, when you look at the way the Ravens are built, they're a power running team. So
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like this weather isn't going to be that much of a detriment to the Ravens because they're kind of built. If this was the Lions going into Buffalo, then I would have worried that a dome team that likes to throw it through the air is playing that type of game. But for the Ravens to be as run heavy as they are, and for not only their quarterback to run heavy, but them to have maybe the best power back in NFL history in Derrick Henry, like these conditions, this type of game is kind of what both of them are built for.
Right. And but on
Like,
the flip side of that, though, we have seen Josh Allen throw the football in nasty weather, like he's playing on a sunny 78, 79-degree day down in California, where he has
that's
no
true.
issue throwing the football. He can launch that thing in bad weather, whether it's cold, whether it's windy, whether it's snowing, cold, and windy all at the same time. I've seen that firsthand with the Patriots. So there's going to be no issue with him throwing. So really, that secondary for the Baltimore Ravens that has gotten better is definitely going to have to step up and be able to stop that rocket that's going to be coming at him.
Yeah, and then when you look at the numbers of it, the Ravens finished as a top 10 defense in the league, which again is all the more impressive considering 2 months ago they were the 28th ranked defense. They've had a 2-month turnaround on defense specifically. That is really commendable, really impressive. I'm assuming that defensive coordinator for the Ravens is now going to get a bunch of looks for head coach because of, gluing that thing back together. With the Bills, I mean, a top 10 offense in every category, the 17th ranked defense, right where my threshold is for defense, right around 15, 16. So they're 17th. But again, you look at the quarterbacks in this one, Lamar Jackson, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the year is just insane.
I
Passing,
mean,
and
you
then
have the two MVPs.
yeah, and I think if especially I know it's supposed to be a regular season award, but if Lamar
Hmm?
Jackson not only blows out Buffalo once, but then beats them again
Okay,
in
honey,
Buffalo in the
go.
playoffs, how can you make the case that it's not Lamar Jackson just
Lefty.
MVP, especially from what we will see in this game? I do think this is a perfect test for both teams to then have to go to Kansas City. Because if Kansas City beats the Texans and then has to play one of these two teams, I feel like all the money, all the vibes, everything, whatever metric you want to hold up against for the Ravens or the Bills to have to go through the Ravens or the Bills to get to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs have to go through the Texans. I feel like, again, whoever comes out of this is the representative for the AFC in the Super Bowl. I mean, fingers crossed that it's
Yeah,
not.
I can see either one of these teams beating the Chiefs almost pretty handedly, to be honest.
But see, that's the trick. That's what we always think, and then
Yeah,
yeah. So who are you picking in this one, Casino? You picking the Ravens or the Chiefs? Or I'm
I'm
sorry,
gonna
the Ravens or the Bills?
I'm gonna go Ravens. I'm just gonna go Ravens. But if the Bills win, that just gives me even more confidence that this is the year Josh Allen can take down the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah, I have literally went through and scratched this out 3 separate times. If you can see right there, my scribbles. I've scratched it out 3 times where I went Ravens, then I went Bills, then I was like, no, maybe it's Ravens again. And finally, I'm settling on Bills, and I'm only settling on the Bills for this one specific reason. I made this graphic 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, where I said the only 4 teams in here who could win the Super Bowl this year are in that middle Super Bowl bubble. And if this week goes how I think it will, the last 4 teams will be Chiefs, Lions, Eagles, Bills. So if I will have called that shot
You
two,
just want
three
to be
months
right. You
ago,
just want to be. I agreed to that shot.
that's true. If only I would have had the Steelers out of there and the Texans instead, this might have been a perfect graphic. Perfect graphic. But I'm sticking with my Super Bowl bubble and saying it's the Bills. But again, as I said previously, any outcome for this game I would not be shocked about.